Guillain-Barré syndrome, often abbreviated as GBS, is an acute autoimmune disorder that attacks the peripheral nerves. You may also hear it referred to as acute idiopathic polyneuritis. What defines GBS is a sudden and rapidly progressing demyelination of the peripheral nerves and some cranial nerves. This demyelination interferes with the transmission of nerve impulses, producing the hallmark features of ascending weakness, loss of reflexes, and sensory changes such as tingling or numbness. For many patients, the story begins with a seemingly simple viral or bacterial infection a few weeks before symptoms appear. In fact, between 60 and 70% of cases are preceded by such an event, with Campylobacter jejuni being the most common culprit in the United States. But other infections, such as cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, Mycoplasma pneumonia, and even Zika virus, are also linked. There are several forms of GBS. The most familiar is the classic ascending type, where weakness begins in the legs and moves upward. Another variant affects only motor nerves without sensory changes, while a rare descending form targets the head and neck muscles first, making it harder to recognize. The rarest presentation is the Miller-Fisher variant, which is marked by eye muscle paralysis, ataxia, and absent reflexes. Although the annual incidence is only 1 to 2 cases per 100,000 people, the condition can be life-threatening, with mortality in about 5 to 10% of cases, usually due to respiratory failure, sepsis, or pulmonary embolism. Fortunately, the prognosis is often favorable, with about 70% of patients recovering fully, though some are left with lasting weakness or disability. At the heart of GBS is an immune attack triggered by molecular mimicry. The infectious organism carries proteins that look similar to those in peripheral nerve myelin. When the immune system mounts its defense against the infection, it mistakenly cross-reacts with myelin, stripping away its insulation and disrupting nerve conduction. The Schwann cells, which produce myelin in the peripheral nervous system, may remain intact, allowing remyelination during recovery. If the axons themselves are damaged, however, recovery is slower and less complete. The first symptoms of GBS are usually weakness and diminished reflexes in the lower limbs. That weakness often climbs upward, sometimes reaching the arms, the torso, and even the muscles that control breathing. When the diaphragm and intercostal muscles are involved, respiratory failure can develop quickly and requires immediate intervention. Sensory changes such as tingling, numbness, and neuropathic pain are also common. The progression typically peaks within 2 weeks, never extending beyond 4. At this point, patients may face severe paralysis, bulbar weakness that impairs swallowing and airway clearance, or even cranial nerve involvement that affects vision and autonomic control of the heart and blood vessels. This autonomic dysfunction can manifest as tachycardia, bradycardia, hypertension, or hypotension, all of which may fluctuate unpredictably. Despite these dramatic motor and autonomic effects, GBS does not alter cognitive function, and patients remain fully alert and aware. Diagnosis of GBS is based on the clinical picture and supportive findings. The rapid development of symmetric weakness, loss of reflexes, and a recent history of infection are strong clues. Cerebrospinal fluid analysis often reveals elevated protein levels without an increase in white blood cells, a finding known as albuminocytologic dissociation. Electrophysiologic studies demonstrate slowed nerve conduction. Because of the risk of rapid progression to respiratory compromise, careful monitoring of vital capacity and inspiratory force is essential from the outset. Medical management of GBS is urgent and supportive. Patients often require care in an intensive care unit to monitor for respiratory failure, autonomic instability, or complications of immobility. Some require intubation and mechanical ventilation, sometimes for extended periods. Prophylaxis for venous thromboembolism with anticoagulants and compression devices is critical, as is vigilant skin care and positioning to prevent pressure injuries. The 2 main disease-specific therapies are therapeutic plasma exchange, which removes the antibodies attacking the nerves, and intravenous immune globulin, which modulates the immune response. Both have been shown to shorten the course of the illness and reduce dependence on ventilatory support. Nursing management plays a central role throughout the course of the illness. The immediate priority is maintaining respiratory function through frequent assessment incentive spirometry, chest physiotherapy, and preparation for ventilatory support if needed. Suctioning may be required when bulbar weakness interferes with airway clearance. Blood pressure and heart rate are monitored closely to detect autonomic instability, and medications or temporary pacing may be needed for severe bradycardia. Because immobility can last weeks, interventions to preserve mobility and prevent complications are essential. Passive range of motion exercises help reduce contractures. Measures such as anticoagulation, hydration, compression devices, and frequent repositioning protect against deep vein thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, and pressure injuries. Adequate nutrition must be maintained, even if paralytic ileus or swallowing difficulties require gastrostomy feeding or parenteral support. Communication strategies are vital, since patients may be paralyzed but remain cognitively intact. Simple systems such as picture boards, blinking, or eye tracking allow patients to express needs and maintain dignity. Psychosocial support is another key aspect of care. The sudden onset and severity of GBS provokes significant anxiety for both patients and families. Education about the disease, reassurance about its generally favorable prognosis, and encouragement of family participation in care can ease the stress of hospitalization. Providing diversional activities and maintaining human connection help combat the isolation that comes with paralysis and prolonged ICU stays. Nurses also help patients pace their activities as recovery begins, preventing fatigue that can hinder rehabilitation. Over time, most patients experience recovery as remyelination occurs. This recovery can be slow and requires rehabilitation tailored to the degree of residual weakness. Some patients may need inpatient rehabilitation, while others progress through outpatient therapy or structured home programs. Physical and occupational therapy support gradual return of function, while speech therapy may help those with bulbar involvement. The recovery phase demands patience and perseverance, but with coordinated care and family involvement, outcomes are often excellent. In summary, Guillain-Barré syndrome is a dramatic but usually reversible autoimmune neuropathy. It begins abruptly, often after a simple infection, and can rapidly escalate to life-threatening paralysis and respiratory failure. Prompt recognition, close monitoring, medical therapies such as plasma exchange or IVIG, and comprehensive nursing care all work together to support patients through the acute phase. With time, most regain strength and independence, though some are left with lasting deficits. The nurse's role is not only in maintaining physical stability, but also in preserving communication, reducing anxiety, and fostering hope during a profoundly challenging illness.